All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to go under the skin and take a look at the incredible internal machinery that makes animals tick, how they move, how they breathe, even how they think. Let's dive right in.
It seems like a really simple question, right? But the answers, they're absolutely amazing. We're going to take a guided tour of these super complex, interconnected systems working inside the animals we see all the time. And yeah, that includes us.
Okay, first stop on our tour, the body's framework. We're talking about the foundation, the architecture that literally everything else is built on. I mean, just think about it for a second. Without some kind of solid structure inside, we'd all just be, well, a blob on the floor, right? So the big problem for any animal is, how do you beat gravity so you can actually move around? It needs a pretty clever solution.
And that solution is the skeleton. It's kind of like the frame of a house, It gives the body its shape and it gives all the other parts, the muscles, the organs, a place to connect so they can do their job. It's really the anchor for the whole operation.
What's wild is that this internal skeleton shows up in a huge variety of animals. So any animal that has this bony framework inside, we're talking cats, birds, even fish, is called a vertebrate. And yep, that brings it right back to us. We're vertebrates. That internal frame is the reason you can stand up, walk around, or even just sit there listening to this. It's the core support system for pretty much every mammal out there.
All right, so we've looked at the frame. Now let's move on to the engine room. Let's talk about the powerful pump that keeps this whole machine running. This is the life-pumping engine.
And that engine, of course, is the heart. It's just this incredible, relentless muscle that powers a massive network throughout the body. It's not just a simple pump. Think of it as the heart of a biological superhighway, making sure that crucial stuff like oxygen and nutrients get delivered to every single cell.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Not all hearts are built the same. You can see this amazing split in how they evolved. For animals in the water, like fish, their heart just pumps blood in one big circle. But for us land dwellers, it's a much more complex two-circle system. One circle goes to the lungs to pick up oxygen, and the second circle takes that fresh oxygen-rich blood and sends it out to the rest of the body. It's a brilliant adaptation for breathing air.
And hey, speaking of breathing, that's a perfect lead into our next stop. So how do different animals solve this super critical problem of getting oxygen? Let's look at breathing on land and sea.
Okay, so here's a basic rule for all living things. You've got to take in oxygen and you've got to get rid of carbon dioxide. No exceptions. The basic science is the same for everyone, but where you live totally changes how you solve that problem.
And here are the two big solutions. On land, you've got lungs, these special sacs inside the body designed to grab oxygen right out of the air. But in the water, fish have gills, these amazing things that can pull oxygen that's dissolved in the water as it passes over them. So cool. Two totally different worlds and two absolutely brilliant solutions.
All right, for our last stop, we are heading straight to the top, to headquarters, the most complex, most fascinating system of all. We're talking about the Animal Command Center.
So, the brain. It's basically the ultimate biological supercomputer, right? It's getting this constant flood of information from the senses, figuring out what it all means, and then sending out orders telling the body exactly what to do.
In invertebrates, this incredibly important organ is kept safe inside the skull. But it's not just one big lump of tissue. Nope, the brain is actually made up of different parts, and each part has its own very specific job. So let's break it down real quick. You've got the cerebrum, that's the thinking part. Then there's the cerebellum, kind of tucked in the back, which handles all your movement and balance. And finally, the brainstem. It's the unsung hero, really, controlling all the automatic stuff you never even notice, like your breathing and your heartbeat. So when you put it all together, the skeleton holding everything up, the heart pumping away, the lungs bringing in air, and the brain running the whole show, you don't just have a box of spare parts. You have this incredible interconnected network where everything works together to make a living, breathing, moving animal. It really is an amazing piece of biological engineering. But it does leave you with one last big question to chew on. We've seen all the components, we've seen how they work, but what is that spark? What's the thing that actually brings it all to life?